Oh, no.
Well, not too far from unrealistic, a guy saying the only way to take out a zombie on live news
Dead body must be exterminated, either by destroying the brain or severing the brain from the rest of the body.
and that society's reluctance to accept a new truth in the midst of an ensuing pandemic,
If we'd listened, if we dealt with this phenomenon properly, without emotion, it wouldn't have come to this.
and yes, that is pretty spot on for a movie from 1978, considering certain recent real-world events and how some people reacted to this news.
There is a martial law state in effect in Philadelphia, as in all other major cities in the country.
All while the public rants and raves as he brings up valid and necessary points with fellow broadcasters trying to shut it down, fearing how radical these views are.
We'd be unable to check the spread because of the emotional attitudes of the citizenry toward these issues of morality.
Jim, you take it.
It is the order of the OEP by command of the federal government.
So bottom line, minus 3 cents for being pretty real with how the initial outbreak will be viewed and glossed over in the first few days. We get in the middle of a SWAT team raid of a low-income apartment where its residents are refusing to cooperate with martial law and handing over their dead. One cop starts going pure psychopath mode and popping people left and right, even blowing this guy's head off without hesitation. His fellow officers resort to killing him to stop his massacre, but you'd think he would have went on his own during the zombie outbreak if he was so kill hungry, instead of killing innocent people with other SWAT team members in sight. This young agent prepares to shoot a zombie in the head, but ends up staring at it and cocking a shotgun numerous times. Yes, zombies and the morality of murder are big mental hurdles to get over, but you'd think he'd at least back away from a slowly crawling dead guy that can infect you with one bite. This zombie 70s black dude just ignores everything going on in front of him and just strolls on outside on his own. I thought zombies attacked the first thing they could get their hands on. This zombie woman somehow doesn't bite anyone while being held like this. The jive zombie from earlier walks out to meet his living wife, and she rushes into his arms. They stare at each other momentarily before he bites her twice. None of the SWAT team during that time decided to either pop the zombie or pull her away, so the young agent can't handle seeing and doing what he did, so he kills himself. I understand having to see people as monsters and resorting to kill them is a lot to process, but you took a job in a special force that tends to neutralize and or kill hostile threats. What did you expect? A one-legged priest tells the agents Roger and Peter that he has read the zombies boarded in the basement their last rites, saying that it's okay to take them out.
You do what you will. You are stronger than us.
And then proceeds to say killing bad.
We must stop the killing or we lose the war.
Have your cake and eat it too, Father. The SWAT team breaks down this barricaded door, peers inside for a moment, and suddenly a bunch of hands reach for them with all of them acting surprised. Wouldn't they have seen these 4 to 6 zombies approach considering how slow and dumb they are? Why are they jump scared like this? The zombies figured out how to break through the barricade just in time for a squad of fully armed SWAT members to somehow get overwhelmed by them in a funneled pathway. You would think in this one doorway they could easily all be gunned down. Okay, I understand thou shalt not kill is the first commandment, but when you see a room full of people ripping each other open for lunch, maybe God will give you a pass on that one this time. Roger stops another SWAT member from giving Pete backup as he goes in this room. Why? So Pete can absorb the image of a cannibal party and possibly get swarmed by them? Why did these armed men allow zombies to crawl to them and nearly bite them? Pete shot a handful of zombies with deadly precision earlier, but takes his time and slowly reloads without moving away from this dead boy? So how do these zombies have bodies to eat if every corpse that plops in their way isn't completely fresh? What is the exact expiration date on a corpse's meat for zombies anyways?
Hey man, I ain't going nowhere, nothing I can't drive myself.
That's true! Something happens to him and we'd be stuck!
Wow! People being reasonable and saying a helicopter escape isn't the best idea if you don't know how to pilot, resorting to cars or boats instead? Something I've never seen a zombie show or movie do or say.
Where you headed?
Downriver. We got an idea, maybe we can make it to the island. What about you? Where you headed?
Straight up.
These strangers have a reasonable plan, but our main cast just says, let's fly. You don't have anywhere to go? You don't have a destination? Let's just fly on our limited gas with this helicopter? Whoa, wait, what? They fly by this well-fortified assortment of military and armed rednecks palling around, but ignore it to randomly find gas elsewhere? Why not land there and find safety in numbers amongst all of these people? So I discussed this in my Why You Would Definitely Survive video for Romero's Zombies, but how the fuck did these zombies take over the world? Rednecks are literally treating zombie killing like a fun hunting trip to drink beer to, and yet they are apparently taking over the world? So instead of all that, our group lands at an abandoned gas station because what could go wrong with a loud-ass helicopter making all that noise in the middle of nowhere? When they landed, they didn't consider the fuel pumps might be empty or damaged? What happens then? Why would this group of 4 people separate at all with the helicopter still making all that noise? Shouldn't they stick together in case a random zombie attacks them in the hangar? Never mind. 30 seconds of Steven struggling to fight this zombie while no one helps him and not getting bitten with his finger dangerously close to its mouth. Fran sits there doing nothing while this goes on, and another zombie she saw slowly walks up behind her and she's just doing nothing about it. You know, I would add a sin for Roger not keeping an eye on his 6, but the zombie getting a little off the top will always be great. So, -1 sin.
Zombies cannot run. So anyone who has a zombie running, don't listen to that person.
Peter doesn't get bit by this kid, and this time around, he unloads a full clip into 2 kids. This guy hesitated to kill before, but suddenly can mow down 2 kids in a blaze of glory without any hesitation. Steven wastes 4 shots on 2 separate zombies before Roger pushes his gun aside to one-shot each zombie. Is Roger trying to show off? Steven is both wasting precious ammo and he could have accidentally hit Peter since his aim has been proven to be bad, but no, Roger just has to show off. Peter shoves Steven to the ground and points a gun at him to prove a point. But hey man, you were the one that was about to be surprise attacked by the slowest and most noticeable enemy possible.
We're thieves and we're bad guys, that's exactly what we are. We gotta find our own way.
That's the reason they won't land anywhere with people? Dude, you using a helicopter to escape the dead isn't gonna get you court-martialed in the middle of a deadly pandemic.
Jesus Christ, we don't even know where we're going. We don't have food, we don't have water, we don't even have a radio.
Fran would be great at zombie sins. They stumble across a shopping center with some not knowing what it is.
What the hell is it? Looks like a shopping center. One of those big indoor malls.
So you don't know much about what a mall is, but say, hey, let's land here anyways? Steven and Fran discern that zombies flock to the mall because it was important to them. Despite figuring out zombies will gather here on instinct, why take refuge here then? Seems like a place this big would be hard to defend with just 4 people and being such a gigantic target in the middle of this suburban area. Luckily, the first place they look through the rooftop glass has dozens of civil defense rations for them to eat. They barricade themselves in a utility area so the pilot can sleep and they can get their bearings. Good. Peter and Roger decide to go out into the mall themselves to get supplies. Bad. Considering y'all had such an issue at the gas station while split up, is it really a good idea to just go in groups of 2 now? Lucky for them, the keys to every store in the mall were right there, readily available. They decide to turn on the mall's music to blanket any sounds they make. Not a bad idea considering the zombies would get used to this ambient sound, but you're gonna learn very quickly it's not gonna really matter. I will never not completely love how these zombies react to the mall coming to life. Riding the escalator with a bewildered look, plopping into the fountain, and more. There's just a lot going on here that's just fun to watch. -1 sin for giving the zombies more than just being mindless roaming creatures that just go and do nothing else. There are a few dozen zombies roaming the mall, and they decide to post up at a locked door and cycle through these dozens of keys trying to get inside this store. Why not methodically take out these zombies in bursts? It would be simple enough instead of risking getting yourself surrounded trying to find the exact key in this giant ring. Roger shoots this zombie a few times in the torso, despite earlier showing off to Steven how to shoot them in the head. What happened, man? They get surrounded the moment they open the doors. Convenient for them, the zombies were polite enough to let them find the right key in these hundreds of keys and push these sliding doors open. This zombie grabs Steve's gun with the barrel pointed directly at its head. Instead of getting the easiest headshot in zombie history, he just lets the zombie have his assault rifle? Really? They turn on the mall music to muffle their sound, but the mall music isn't playing here and they decide to make as much noise as possible anyways at the other door. Why not do what you did getting there and just run past the mall instead of risking them breaking through the store at any moment? Steven spends all this time letting the zombies get close and didn't check to see the gun wasn't loaded. Steven starts reloading with his back at a corner. Why not somewhere where you can see the zombie coming instead of getting attacked from behind? Thankfully, zombie Paul Blart just stands there long enough for Steven to get a headshot. Steven is able to suplex a zombie off a balcony without it struggling or attempting to bite him. Flyboy Steven just sits there for half a minute with the zombies staggering around until Peter convinces him to run through them and he doesn't get harmed at all in this skirmish. How the hell are these zombies a worldwide threat again? This zombie not only pretends to be a mannequin, but he waits for the last guy in the group to run by before attacking. Don't zombies always attack the first living thing that gets near them? Why did he wait this long? This zombie doesn't try to bite any part of the lower body and instead crawls all over Roger to give him time to drive a screwdriver into his head so the forbidden raspberry jam can come oozing out of his ear. They left Fran alone in that hallway knowing a few zombies were straggling there despite saying they should lead them away. Why not just take them out right there on the spot to prevent some sneaking in and getting hurt?
Dining room fit with a 40 by...
Oh, never mind, the Hare Krishna zombie got in. The guys figure out a way to get back into the safe room via using vents from the department store elevator. Smart. -1 sin. Fran lights a flare and scares away the zombie. Why isn't fire more widely used to ward off the dead at this point? Lucky for the woman that is Fran, men show up while she is completely helpless. You know, she probably could have just kept a weapon on her to defend herself. But no, we have to have the men come to the rescue while she sits there hopeless.
If they just organize. I can't believe they let it get this bad. I can't believe they couldn't handle it. But those things can be stopped so easily. If people would just listen, do what has to be done.
You know, I'm asking the same thing. But at least Romero acknowledged it, I guess.
She all right? She looks blown.
What do you expect?
No, I mean she really looks sick. Physically.
She's pregnant.
And that bitch be smoking? Fran wants to fly to Canada. Why? Are the zombies strictly American? Fran says she wants to learn how to pilot the helicopter and to leave her a gun if she stays behind at any point. And Steven gets pissed off about it? You'd rather her get eaten alive? They are working to procure box trucks and use them as barricades to block off mall entrances. But does Roger have to be so cocky about every little situation? Roger gets out of the box truck and messes around with some zombies. And he has a sensual moment with one as it simply caresses his face. Don't they usually go for the grab and instant bite? Why do they have this sexually tense moment? Roger leaves the passenger seat open while he hotwires the truck and acts surprised when the dozens of zombies yards away suddenly start crawling in. Why did you leave the door open? A zombie uses a tire iron to break the driver's side window in this stressful situation. Yet none of those tons of zombies that were walking around show up to attack when Peter shows up. Just the two zombies that are quickly taken out. Roger takes his sweet time getting into Pete's box truck, somehow not getting bitten twice. Roger gets back out of the truck, and when he drops his bag, goes back for it, doing gymnastics and all this funny, cool, actiony stuff. And for once, a zombie takes this chance to easily bite him. Not once, but twice. If only Roger and Pete didn't do all this in such a sloppy manner. So they raid a gun store, and it's perfectly intact. You're telling me in 1970s America that not a single American broke into the mall and didn't try to shoplift? Especially with this many guns? They have a literal arsenal of dozens of guns. They could easily take out every zombie possible by loading as many guns as possible and swapping after each empty clip.
Don't try to shoot through those gates. Openings are too small.
But no, dude. You could literally walk up and pop them point blank through the gate. Just put the barrel straight to their forehead. They decide they're going to go out and hotwire a display car, and they get out and wards the horde off with fire, not shooting any of them and pushing the wounded Roger in a wheelbarrow. Shouldn't you be at least attempting to thin the zombie numbers to some degree? Steven gets out and goes to lock the door behind him, but doesn't know which key to use. So we get another scene of key fumbling while zombies hesitate to attack just a few feet away. Peter looks away the entire time this zombie walks up and finger stabs Roger's leg. What the hell was that noise? Whatever, okay. With the mall effectively sealed off at its main entrances, the crew finally sweeps the inside zombie population, taking them all out. Good and efficient, even if it's off screen. -1 sin. To add to them being smart, they decide to conceal the only stairway to their out-of-the-way room in case patrols of violent people or zombies make their way in the back areas of the mall, glossing over the front with wood and wallpaper and using these vents to get in and out of their safe haven. So you might say that it's pretty sus. Also, -1 sin. They take all the bodies of the dead and store them in a food freezer. Maybe not the best idea to do so if you're wanting to stay here long term and keep meats non-spoiled and zombie tainted. You'd want to use these freezers as long as electricity is running. Why not just dump the bodies off the rooftop of the mall and let the zombies just go to town on them? For a group that is worried about getting caught by federal authorities with their helicopter, they sure don't care they are stealing money from a bank in front of security cameras. I know, less zombie-oriented sin, but the reason I bring this up, it was their excuse not to land their helicopter anywhere with government people. So suddenly they just don't care now that they're stealing money from a federal bank. Zombies have been banging on these glass doors all day, and not one has been smart enough to use a tool to try and break it like others have, especially like at the box truck.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
Probably the most iconic quote in zombie history, -5 sins. Two guys on TV argue what to do about zombies, either feeding them or nuking them. The one-eyed professor was making a euphemism, but why not just do what the rednecks and military were doing earlier and just periodically wipe out the zombies with armed squadrons? I think it'd be a little efficient. Peter waits for Roger to reanimate before shooting him in the head. Why not just quietly stab him in the head right as he dies, instead of traumatizing yourself with the image of your zombified best friend? Hundreds of zombies are gathered in the parking lot. You may want to spend some of that time where you've had a couple weeks here each day sitting on the rooftop and sniping some of these zombies to prevent their numbers from going even more so they can't brute strength their way in somehow. But nah, let them gather even more and more at the doors. A biker gang sees the mall is occupied and pries open the docking bay doors, but none of the zombies there attack them and just stand idly by as they waltz on in motorcycles. You know, seeing the bikers break in every store and raid for anything they can grab makes me wonder how and why this didn't happen sooner in this mall. Some bikers rip the jewelry off this zombie woman's neck while risking getting bitten. I mean, these guys are trigger happy. Why didn't they just pop her in the head, then steal her necklace? Why would you risk getting bitten? This just proves to me this outbreak is pretty much a joke. People are walking up and pieing these zombies in the face, spraying them in the face with seltzer, and generally goofing around right in front of dozens of them, and the zombies just sit there and take it like they are embarrassed, not even trying to attack. Steven, pissed off that bikers screwed up his safe haven that was the mall, opens fire on them. Dude, you guys are 3 people against 20. Why are you engaging them by yourself? and revealing where you are. Wasn't the point of hiding away your safe room in the case like this something happens? Why are you attacking? Why not just go there? Why in the hell did Steven and Peter go out in the open in the first place anyways, since they knew there was a large group invading? Why not bunker down in your safe room and let them take over? You have enough supplies to last a while, and there's only 2 entry points to get where they are that they can watch over with weapons. For a while, the bikers are efficiently killing zombies with no casualties while the zombies barely go after any of them. And here we see that Peter has the infinite ammo hunting rifle cheat enabled. With the bikers taking casualties thanks to Peter's keen eye, the gang decides to roll out after the cameo of Tom Savini gets himself cornered and killed off the balcony. You gotta wonder how these outlaws survived this long with how reckless they are, and also wonder why they didn't even consider fortifying the mall for themselves. It would have been perfect for a biker gang like them. Peter shoots this biker in the arm, causing him to fall off the bike. He sits there, grabs his Tommy gun, and allows himself to get swarmed, not getting up or attempting to run. Dude, you were shot in the arm. You can still run. Sombrero Man, seeing the mall is absolutely infested with the dead, decides now is the best time to stick his arm in a blood pressure machine. This is probably the dumbest death in zombie history. He is surrounded, and instead of running, he immobilizes himself? I get it. It was for the gore gag of his arm still being there to have a blood pressure of 0. But come on, I'm gonna add 3 cents because of this dumbass. This biker remains perfectly still as his shirt is ripped off and his guts ripped open. You'd think you'd struggle a bit more while getting disemboweled. These bikers get easily swarmed and killed since it's the end of the raid, yet bikers on motorcycles drive by zombies that look like they could give 2 shits less that people are there. Peter, suffering from a gunshot to his arm, attempts to climb up the elevator shaft when the elevator doors open, and 5 zombies instantly attack him, acting like they knew he was there all along. Wouldn't these zombies have been attracted to the sound of the loud as fuck motorcycles and screaming bikers? Why are they specifically attracted to this elevator and this quick to attack? They have been slow to attack everything up until this point, but it's the point in the movie where he has to die, so screw the rules. Another iconic shot, Steven is revealed to have turned in the elevator. I know he was bitten all over, but that was an incredibly fast turn time, considering Roger, earlier, was bit twice, and was still given a full day to pal around and tour them all, and lay in bed and slowly die away. Steven retains the memory of this specific camouflage spot. Man, usually zombies are brain dead, or only know how to pick up stuff after they turn, but he gets to retain his specific memory of this specific spot, because it's that point in the movie where everything has to come crashing down. Zombies can apparently climb ladders and all easily get on the roof. You'd think with how stiffly they have been moving because of rigor mortis that this would be either impossible for them at all, or for so many to climb up in under a few minutes. That would be impossible too, especially on this wobbly ladder connecting to a rooftop ladder. There's no way they would get up like that. Peter is about to kill himself when he sees a zombified brother and decides to become a badass and escape. Good thing every zombie that was in that room was already up the ladder so he can easily get up on the roof. Peter fights his way through the horde, and before he punches the last zombie, that zombie grabs his rifle, and it suddenly forgets about Peter and sits there and decides which gun it wants to hold. Peter stops and is bewildered at this situation, not doing anything, and just lets him have the gun. So he lets him have the gun, and no other zombies attack him during this weird scene? Okay. Despite there being dozens of zombies on the rooftop, none of them get anywhere close to the helicopter, so Peter can hop in and fly off into the sunset. One last thing. This ending was altered during production, with the original ending being much bleaker, much like 28 Days Later, where Peter was to shoot himself in the head, and Francine would have put her head in the way of the helicopter blades to decapitate herself, with no one surviving. It seems much more realistic for the drastic situation they were in, but no, we had to have an action hero ending for Peter, and we can't have audiences being sad in a horror movie. We can't have realism. We have to be like, yeah, they survived, hell yeah!
Wow.